Hi you guys, we're going to go ahead and start skill 19, so we're almost to the end. There's only 20 skills. Make sure you have your notes out, or your notebook, or wherever you're taking notes, and as we've been doing, the page numbers are at the bottom. So we're going to be simplifying radicals, and we're going to take a second to talk about what does radical form mean. So if I gave you something like the square root of 4, technically there's an invisible 2 there, and it's saying, this is asking what times what equals 4. The answer is 2. So that's why the square root of 4 equals 2. If I gave you something like the cube root of 8, this is asking what 3 things. What times what equals 8. 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. So if we got something like the cube root of like x to the third, that's asking what times what equals x to the third, and our answer there would be x times x times x. One way to think of this is going in between exponential form and radical form. So let's take our 3 cube root of x to the third. If we were to rewrite that based on what we have down here, that becomes 3 over 3, or just x to the first, which matches what we got there. If we got something like this cube root of x squared, we could write it at this. That doesn't simplify any further. We'll learn how to deal with those later, but that's what exponential form is writing us. So we're going to go ahead and move to our first example. This is asking us there's a couple ways to think of this. It's asking us to group things by 2. So it's saying I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 13. It's asking me to group by 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can make 6 groups of 2. So I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can make 6 groups of y's. And then stuck on the inside is this extra y. Y to the 6th square root of y. This is asking us to take all of these u's and group them by 2 as well. Because I have an invisible 2 when I have a square root. It wants groups of 2. So I can group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I was able to get 8 u's. And then 1 u is stuck inside still. Another way to think of this is I could transfer this to exponents. 13 over 2. That's 6.5. So that's y to the 6 times y to the 1/2, or y to the 6 square root of y. I could think of this as u to the 17 over 2, u to the 8.5, so u to the 8 times u to the 1/2 equals u to the 8 square root u. So these are all ways to think of this. We're now going to start this idea of how we would take the square roots or the cube roots or higher order roots of numbers. So we're going to break numbers down into its prime factors. Prime factors means that only one in itself go into it. So 2, 3, 5, 7, 11 are some of our beginning ones. So if I gave you a 12, 2 and 6 go into it, and then I can break 6 down to 2 and 3. So 12's prime factors are 2 times 2 times 3. If I gave you 36 prime factor, I could do 6 and 6. That's 2 times 3, 2 times 3. So 36 prime factors are 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And a lot of us know that the square root of 36, we know that equals 6. Well, let's take a second to think about why. 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. It's asking us to group things by 2 whenever it's asking for a square root. So I can pull out one group of 2 and one group of 3. So I have 2 times 3, which gets me the 6 that I know the square root of 36 is 6. So that's how prime factors work. So we're going to start applying those along with variables. So simplified radical expression. We have square root of 49y to the 14th, or 19th. 49, I know that's 7 times 7. So if you can do this more in your head, that's fine. 7 times 7, I'm going to write 19y's. And because it's asking for the square root, it wants things grouped by 2. So I'm seeing how many groups of 2 of the same thing I can get. 1, 2, 3. I didn't do enough y's. That's my bad. 1, 2. And I see that when I simplify this, a 7, I get one group of 7's able to come out, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 groups of y is able to come out, and 1 y is left on the inside. I want you to pause the screen. Go ahead and try this bottom one. If I look at 27, its prime factors are 3 and 9, or 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 times 3. I'm going to go ahead and write this out as 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because this is a square root, it's asking me to group everything by 2's. So I'm going to group anything matching. I'm going to group it as a 2, or group them in groups of 2. I see that a 3 can come out. 1, 2, 3, 4 u's can come out. And a 3u is stuck on the inside. So we're going to keep using this idea. Whatever is here on the outside of the radicand tells us how many groups we want. So this is groups of 4. I'm going to take 16. I broke that down. So this is the same as 2, 3, 4. I think I did that correctly. Now I'm grouping everything by 4's. So there's 4, 4, 4, 4. If I were to rewrite this, I get one group of 2's can come out. 1, 2, 3 groups of v's can come out. and then I have 2 v's left inside. So that's what that would simplify to. If I looked down here at 72, if I did the prime factors of 72, 36 times 2, 6 times 6, 3 times 2, 3 times 2, so it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. So I want you guys to think to yourself, what is it asking me to group things by? How many groups, or how many terms do I need to make a group? So it's asking for the cube root, so I need groups of 3. So anything that is the same value, I'm going to group them by 3, or put them in groups of 3. And I see what's able to come outside of the radical is a 2 and 2 y's. And then I have a 3 times 3, or a 9 y remains on the inside. So this has 2 variables, and we're going to see that that doesn't really actually affect this a ton. So first let's break down 48. 2 and 24, 2 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 3. So 48 is, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 3, 2 t's, 9 u's. It's asking me to group things by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and group things by 2. And this ends up with a 2 times 2 times a t is able to come to the outside the radical. 3, 1, 2, and then a u is left on the end. Oh. 4 u's are able to come out, and then a u is left on the inside. Last one that we're going to try is, let's break down 56 by its prime factors. 2 and 28, 2 and 14, 2 and 7, so 2 times 2 times 2 times 7. It's asking me for groups of 3. Two times 2 times 2 times 7. Go ahead and grouping things by 3. A 2, 2 x's, 3 z's, and then a 7 and a z are left on the inside.